Welcome to Onshape '06, Create a Plane. My name is Mr. Bursten. I'll be guiding you through how to create a plane in Onshape using some of the tools that we have learned so far. The plane I'll be attempting to copy today is the F-86 Saber from United States history. It's a plane that I like. It has a lot of cool features on it, and it allows us to use a lot of features from Onshape in order to recreate it. The very first thing that I'm going to do is I'm not going to create any extrusions or anything else. I actually want to start with creating some new planes. So remember, press and hold right click to rotate your camera around. Press and hold down your scroll wheel to move the camera around. You can always use your camera cube up here to return to a certain position. I will be using a combination of all of those actions a lot throughout this tutorial. Pay close attention. I'm going to be going slowly, but I'm still going to be going through everything, okay? First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my front plane, and then I'm going to use my plane tool up here. Instead of having it come forward, I'm going to click on this arrow and drag backwards, and I'm going to set this at a distance of, let's say, 3 inches. Okay? I'm going to click on my front plane again and do the exact same thing again, only this time around when I drag it backwards, I want it significantly farther back. I think I'm going to set this one at 7 inches. I accidentally tapped my enter key there, so hold on just one moment. I'm double clicking this, that way I can get that box back up. I think I want to set this back at 8, maybe 9. Yeah, we'll go with 8 inches. Okay. So I'm starting off with my front plane, plane 1 and plane 2. You can always rewind the video and check out what I just did. That way you can follow along, okay? Again, I didn't mean to hit enter there. I just tapped it on my keyboard on accident, okay? So now I'm going to click on my front plane, I'm going to change my camera view to the front, and I'm going to click my sketch button. Here I'm going to use my center point circle tool. I'm going to click right on the dead center, so I want this center point to be highlighted. I'm going to make a circle. It does not matter how big I make this circle because, and this is a very important point, everything that I do during this tutorial is going to be dimensioned, okay? That means I'm going to define the dimensions of everything that you see here, okay? I'm going to define the dimension of this at 1 inch. Okay, so I'm going to tap 1, hit enter, and I'm going to be done with it. I'm going to change my camera view using my camera cube back right up here so that I can see everything again. I'm going to click on plane number 1. I'm going to click sketch, and I'm going to bring it back to the front view. Okay, so the F-86 Saber has a very unique design on it. I will pull up a picture that way you can see it as well. F-86 Saber, I think, pretty cool plane, like I mentioned. So let's go ahead and get this opened up here. The F-86 Saber has this neat thing where it has, it's very round up front, gets a little bit larger, and then gets thinner as it gets towards the back. So I'm going to attempt to copy that to the best of my ability. Going to take another circle, and I'm going to put it above my original circle. And this is the important point I want you to see. The middle is highlighted in orange, and you can see that there's actually a light orange dotted line that's appearing. I also have that little horizontal line, or I'm sorry, vertical line that's appearing next to my mouse, okay? So with all of that in place, I'm going to create another circle. Again, I'm going to dimension it. It doesn't really matter how big I make it initially. I'm going to say that this circle is 1.5 inches in diameter, and then here's the other big thing. I'm going to use my tangent tool, and I'm going to say that I'm going to click my tangent tool, I'm going to click my original circle, I'm going to click the first circle that I made, okay? Now, this didn't bind it the way that I wanted it to, okay? So if it does something that we don't want it to do, we can have a couple options. I know I've seen a lot of folks use the undo feature up here. I use the keyboard shortcut that this talks about called Control Z, okay? So I wasn't happy with that, and I can tell you what ended up happening is this circle is a little bit too far up. I'm going to drag it closer to where I want it, okay? And now I'm going to use my tangent tool again. There, now I have exactly what I want. I'm going to hit my check mark. I'm going to bring my camera back. I'm going to click on plane number 2. I'm going to click sketch, and I'm going to click on the front again. This last circle I'm going to make back here, I'm going to make it just about the same size. I think I'm going to make it at 0.75 that I did with the first circle, okay? And it's going to be right in the dead center, okay? I'm going to hit my check mark. I'm going to bring my view back out here. Now here's the important part. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tap P, the letter P on my keyboard. That's going to get rid of all the planes on the screen. I'm going to click 1, 2, 3, the 3 circles I just made in order. I want you to make sure of something. When you click 1, 2, 3, do not click on the edge of your circle. Notice how the inside is not turned orange. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to click my loft button. Okay, what that's going to do is it's going to create a loft between all 3 of those circles. I'm very happy with how that looks, so I'm going to hit check. Okay, we've just made the body or the fuselage of our plane. Okay, next thing I'm going to work on is the wings. Let's take a look at these. These wings are swept back. Let me pull up another image for you real quick. All right, these wings are swept back on the F-86 Saber, so I'm going to be focusing on that exact design. These wings are also they have a very unique shape. They're not just rectangles, so we're going to again try and emulate that as well. Coming back here, I'm going to want to view all of my planes again, so I'm going to tap P on my keyboard. That's going to bring all of them back. Let's take a look at this from this angle. I'm going to rotate my camera so I see a lot of the right plane. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to click on my right, and then I'm going to click Sketch up here. Okay. From here, I'm going to make a line. This line is going to run perfectly horizontal, not angled, horizontal. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do from here is I can tap Escape to stop making a line, and then I'm going to tap on my 3-point arc tool. Point 1 of my arc will be on one end of my line. Point 2 of my arc will be over here. This does not matter how big I make it. Again, we're going to dimension everything. Okay. I'm going to set this dimension. We're going to try out 0.9 and see how that looks. All right. We're going to keep messing with it a little bit. Let me back up. Let me tell you what I did there. Hold on. So let me delete that. Again, I'm still using my dimension tool. This time around, I'm just clicking on my line, and then I'm going to click anywhere in the white or light blue space. I don't want to click on any other line, okay? So I want to click on that light blue space. I'm going to set that at 1. 0.9 is fine. Let's see how 0.8 looks. Not really happy with that. Let's do 0.95. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Okay. I want this to be relatively thin. That's why I'm messing with that number so much. Okay. I also want to set the distance. I really want to make sure that this wing is exactly where I want it. So I'm going to click on a couple more things. I'm going to click on my line again like I did to make that original dimension, but I'm also going to click on my plane that's right here, okay? Remember, when we're looking at 3D model, that's our top plane that I'm going to be clicking on. So back to the right side, zoom back in, click on that top plane. I'm now setting the distance between this line up here and this line down here. I'm going to click again. I'm going to set this at 0.5. Okay, nope, not happy with that. Never mind, I'm going to hit 0.4, okay? 0.4 is what I'm going to stick with. Last but not least, so this is not fully dimensioned yet. I can still move this arc back and forth like this. There we go. See, I can still move it back and forth like that. I don't want to be able to do that. So I'm going to click on my dimension tool again. I clicked on it without clicking on it by tapping the D key on my keyboard. You can see that it's flashing on and off the entire time. Okay. So I'm going to tap the D key on my keyboard. That way I'm using the dimension tool. I'm going to click on this dot right here. Now this is really important, okay? I'm clicking on the dot. I'm not clicking on the line. I'm not clicking on this line. I'm clicking on this point right here, okay? Clicking on that point, and then I'm going to click on my front plane. So this is the front plane that I'm currently hovering over. That's going to set the distance between those two, and I'm going to say that it's 2 inches. Not happy with that. Let's do 1.5 inches. A lot happier with that, okay? Now I can hit my check mark. That's right, we did a lot of work just to create one part of our wing. I need to head back to the right side, click this, click sketch. We're back into sketch mode. I'm going to make another line. I'm going to make it on the same level. Whoop, hold on. Did I click the right plane? Yes, I did. Okay, so I don't actually want to do that. I'm going to back out of that move, okay? So I'm going to click on my right plane. What I actually wanted to do instead was I want to create another plane that comes off of this. Hold on. There we go. So I'm going to use my plane tool. By the way, if you don't see the plane tool on your screen, there should be a drop down next to one of these tools that should reveal that. My screen is big enough that I can see most of the tools that are available to me. Anyway, moving on. I'm going to set the distance of this. We're going to say 4 inches. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, 5 inches. Yeah, I'm happy with that. All right. 5 inches away from the right plane. So I set up a new plane. Going to click on that plane. Right side, sketch. I'm going to use the line tool. I'm going to make this roughly on the same level, but notice I can't highlight any of this. Again, that's why we fully dimensioned everything, okay? So I'm going to click my line tool like that, make a line, went to my 3-point arc tool, point 1, point 2, point 3. Going to dimension this the exact same way that I dimensioned the other one, 0.95. This should be 1 inch. Whoop, not 12, 1. And then I'm going to define the distance from this line to this line up here at 0.4. I'm going to define the distance from this point to this line, not at 2 this time, because 2 would give us a perfectly straight wing. I don't want that. The F-86 Sabers features a swept wing design, so I'm actually going to set this at 4 inches, okay? Now you're going to see exactly what I'm going to end up doing with this. This is a tool that we used before. I'm going to click on sketch number 4 because I can't really select it anymore. Yeah, if I zoom in on it, I can try and select it, but really this is going to get in the way. So I'm going to go over to my side panel. I'm going to click on sketch number 4, click on sketch number 5, and then I'm going to click my loft tool, which is right up here. Boom, I'm going to loft between those 2 points. I'm going to hit my check mark. That is one wing of our swept wing design. Now, I'm lazy. I don't want to do that entire process again on the other side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix my camera so I can see the whole thing. I'm going to click on my mirror tool. This is a tool that you haven't necessarily used yet. I do talk about it a little bit, and there's a lesson immediately after this that we're going to use it as well, but let's get a quick introduction to it. So the mirror tool is exactly as it sounds. When you stand in front of a mirror, you see the reflection of yourself. As you move further back from the mirror, so does your reflection. So I'm going to click the mirror tool. It's going to ask me entities to mirror. The only option that I can click is the entire plane. So I'm going to click on the entire plane. I'm going to click on mirror plane. The mirror plane that I want to reflect across, right? I want this to look the same on the other side of the plane over here. So I'm going to click on my right plane. Give it a moment. There we go. Okay. So my right wing has now popped up. Okay. All right. Return my camera view. Once I'm happy with that, I'm going to go ahead and hit my check mark. Now what I need to do is I need to focus on my back wing or my back tail over here. So return my camera view to normal. I'm going to tap P on the keyboard. That way I get rid of all those planes off the screen, but I do want to see the right plane still. That just clears up a lot of clutter on the screen that I don't really want to see. Click on my right plane, click the sketch button, click my right side view. Okay. Going to use the line tool. So again, I'm in the middle of my aircraft here. Going to create a line right here. This one's going to be a little bit smaller because the tail is a little bit smaller, so I'm going to say 0.75. I'm going to use my arc tool. Again, same process, really. I'm just changing around some of the dimensions. That way I'm a little bit happier with this. Let's go with 0.75. Yep, pretty happy with that. Okay. I'm going to want to look at my top plane again, so I'm going to move my sketch window over. That way I can see that little eye view. I need my top plane, and I'm going to end up needing my front plane too, so let's just go ahead and re-enable both of those. I'm going to do the same thing that I did before. I'm using my dimension tool right now. Going to click on that flat line, going to click on that mid plane. Let's set that at 0.3. And then I'm going to click on this point right here. I'm going to click on my front plane, and we'll set this at, I want to do 6.5. Yep, I'm happy with that, okay? Gonna hit my check mark, okay? Now, I want to create a new plane. So right before we had this plane number 3 over here, but the tail, the what's called the elevator does not really extend out that far, so I'm going to use a different plane this time around, all right? So I'm going to disable all those again, except for my top, front, and right. Going to click on my right, going to click on the plane tool, and I'm going to extend this out 2 inches, I think, instead of our original 5, okay? And I'm going to hit enter. Going to click on plane number 4. I'm going to click sketch. I'm going to click my right side, and I'm going to do the same process again. I'm going to click on my line tool, line, and then I don't want to use the line tool. Now I want to use the arc tool, point, point, point. I think originally I set this at 0.75, and I set this at, I think, also 0.75, funny enough. There we go. Okay, so 0.75, 0.75. Click on my dot, click on my line over here. I want to set this, we'll say 8 inches back. Yeah, I like that. Okay. I'm going to click on this line. I'm going to click on my middle line right here, and I'm going to set this at 0.3 so that's on the same level. I'm going to hit check. I'm going to do the same thing that I did before with my wings. Click on sketch 6, click on sketch 7, click on my loft tool, and then I'm happy with that, okay? So take a look at the top of our plane right now. We have our wings, we have our elevator. The next thing I'm going to do is, you guessed it, I want an elevator on the other side, so I'm going to click my mirror tool. I'm going to click on my entity to mirror. It's the only option I have. I'm going to click on my mirror plane, and I'm going to click on my right side mirror. I want to make sure I'm clicking on that, all right? Then I'm going to hit the check mark. There we go, okay? So I have everything set up with the 2 wings, all right? You know, doesn't look the greatest in the world, but it kind of looks like a plane. From here, what I'm going to do is I also want to make the tail. So I'm currently missing the tail back here. We can see that back there. I got kind of a unique way of doing that. So I'm going to go to my top view. I'm going to click on my top plane and I'm going to click sketch, okay? Zooming in on this portion right down here, the back end, I'm going to use my line tool and I'm going to look for this little constraint to pop up. You see that dotted line that appears. So I'm going to click and make a straight horizontal line. I'm going to dimension this so that it's, we'll say 1 inch. I also want to dimension it so that it's a certain distance back from the front of the plane. So I'm going to click on, I clicked on my dot right here. I clicked on my line down here. And I'm going to set this at 6 inches, okay? So my line should be about there, 6 inches, 1 inch. That line is fully bound right now. I'm going to need the 3-point arc tool. Click, click, click. I'm going to set this at 0.8. Yeah, 0.8 looks good. I want to do the same exact thing to the other side. I could use the mirror tool, but it's a little bit easier to just quickly make it. Boom, 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 0.8, okay? I went through those actions very quickly. Go back and take a look, but I've done the exact same thing on the other side. I used my 3-point arc tool. I clicked on my first dot, clicked on my second dot, clicked out here a little bit, and then I went over to use my dimension tool and define this at 0.8, okay? I'm going to hit my check mark. I'm going to need a new plane now. So that tail comes up and behind the rest of the plane. So I'm going to click on my top plane. I'm going to click for a new plane tool. We're going to raise this up 2 inches. Yep, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to hit check, going to click on plane number 5, going to click sketch, going to click on the top. I'm going to repeat a lot of the same process that I just did here. Okay, so I'm going to line that up with the middle again, but I'm going to set it further back. We'll dimension this at, instead of 1 inch, let's do 0.75, all right? If it moves down on you like that, no worries. That's why we have our dimension tool. I've clicked on that dot, clicked on this line, and I'm going to set this at, let's start with 7.5. I want a little bit further back. Let's try 8. Okay, that looks good. Going to hit my check. Whoop, hold on. I clicked check early. So in order to go back to fixing this, because I'm not done right, I'm missing the 2 arcs, I'm going to double click on sketch number 9, okay? Arc tool. Boom, boom, boom. And then we'll say that the dimension of this, so I tap D on my keyboard, 0.5, I'm not really happy with that. 0.6, yeah, we can live with that one, all right? Arc tool, boom, boom, boom. Dimension, click, click, 0.6. There we go. Check. All right, there we go. You might know the procedure from here. Click Sketch 8, click Sketch 9, click your loft button. There we go. I have my tail. Not a bad looking Saber. I'm going to get rid of all those planes again. That way I can clearly see my F-86 Saber. We're not quite done yet. Something else that's kind of cool about the F-86 Saber is we have this little hole in the front of the plane. So I'm going to come back here. I'm going to go to my front view. I'm going to click on my front. I'm going to click Sketch. I'm going to use my circle tool again. I'm going to click on the center. I'm going to dimension this out. So I'm going to drag it out to there, and then I'll say that this is 0.75. Okay. Hit my check. Click on this. Click extrude. Click remove. Okay, when this window pops up, click remove on this. Take a look at where this is. That's fine. That's far enough back, so I'm going to leave that at 1 inch. I'm going to click my check mark. I'm going to use another tool that we talked about recently. I'm going to click on that inner ring right there, and then I'm going to click on my fillet tool. Fillet. Right now, the radius is set to 0.1 inches. I'm happy with that, but yours may not have selected that automatically, okay? So yours may look really weird. Set the radius to 0.1, okay? And now I'm going to hit check, all right? So there's the front of the aircraft right there. And if you followed along with the tutorial to this point, this is really what I want to see from you. Go ahead, turn this into canvas as is. You can make your own plane if you would like to. If you didn't really like this tutorial or like Mr. Bursten, the F-86 is kind of dumb. It's kind of old. That's okay. Make your own plane, but here, check out Canvas for the requirements for if you do make your own plane. All right. I hope this tutorial was helpful to you. Please ask any questions during class when you have them, and have a good day.